All right. I think we're live. Hold on. Let's get the announcements out. Let's get the announcements out, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's get the announcements out. Audio works. Perfect. All right. Let's see over here. Okay. All right. We are live on the X.com. We are live on X. Are we live on the Twitch? Yes, we are live on the Twitch. Perfection. Give me 1 second. One second. 1 second. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We are back. We are back. All right. Let's see here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. All right. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting all the announcements all set up and ready to go. Getting them all set up and ready to go. All right. Getting everything all set. All right. Let's see here. All right. Everything's all set up and ready to go. Good. Let's take a look over here. Get the announcements set out on the X.com. Let's see. All right. All right. Let's see here. All right. Let's see. Let's get ourselves all set up. Ready to go. All right. There we go. All right. Okay. There we go. All right. Good to go. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting everything all set up. All sorted out. There we go. All right. All right. There we go. Okay. There we are. All right. All right. Okay, there we go. We should be set up and ready. Bell icon to stay notified. When new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, folks. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We were just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. All right, we are getting ourselves all set up. Let's take a look at MNDR. Because that right now, AMBR is currently the lead gainer right now at 62 52% now, currently 58%, but we did have MNDR as the lead gainer before that. So let's take a look over here. MNDR currently fell below the VWAP a little bit, fell below the VWAP right now. MNDR has 835K in terms of float, 11 million volume. So we got that going on right there. Currently at this point in time needs to break above this pennant right over Mia for it to be somewhat schmexy to Mia. But not only does it need to do that, it also needs to break above the VWAP right now. Because right now, if it doesn't break through that VWAP, well, then it's not too schmexy to Mia. You know what I mean? So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. There we go. There we go. So, MNDR needs to break above the pennant and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to Mia. Right now, MNDR is currently up 37%. 37% was up a little bit higher earlier in the day, but it has since gone down a little bit below the VWAP. So can it curl right now? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Currently up 37%. Let's see if it's got any news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if it's got news. Does it have news? Does it have news? It did have news that came out yesterday. Nope, actually not even that. It didn't really have any news that came out at all. So we're going to basically keep an eye on the stonk right here. It was moving earlier in the day. We'll see what happens later on today. We'll see if it gains any more volume, but it needs a volume to be somewhat schmexy to Mia. Let's take a look at AMBR. AMBR currently has a conference call in progress, up 55%. Q3 earnings released today before the market opened, so we got that going on. Now, note that obviously there's not going to be too much in terms of volume because this is the day before Thanksgiving. So, as of now, there's not going to be much volume, which means gotta be patient. You know what I mean? Gotta be patient. Opportunities can arise, but it's all a matter of patience, ladies and gentlemen. It's all a matter of patience. What you guys got planned for Thanksgiving, by the way? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Put it in the chat. Let's see what we got going on here. AMBR currently forming a bit of a pennant right here. A little bit of a pennant. It is above the VWAP currently, but it is a bit overbought on the RSI, right over Mia, right over Mia. So it is a little bit overbought on the RSI as of now. Currently trying to go back down just to compensate for being overbought. That way it could kind of just be within the RSI and remain indifferent on the RSI instead of being overbought. So it does happen from time to time. It do be like that. So we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what happens. All right. AMBR needs to break the pennant and hold above the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to Mia. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And let's get a share party going. Let's get a share party going to 100. Let's get to 100, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's get a share party going to 100, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let me get over here. Somebody requested ANVS. ANVS. Let's take a look at ANVS. ANVS right over here. ANVS, very low volume, fell below the VWAP. Not looking too schmexy with this one. A lot of indecisive wicks. Not a lot of volume. Was leaning towards being oversold on the RSI. Not schmexy, ladies and gentlemen. Not schmexy. ANVS, very low volume, fell below the VWAP. Needs to break that VWAP and need some volume. Very low volume. Fell below the VWAP, needs to break the VWAP and needs volume to become somewhat schmexy to Mia. Otherwise, just not looking too good, ladies and gentlemen. Not looking good. All right, but we did call AMBR for the Discord earlier in the day. We did. Hang on 1 second. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Hang on 1 second. 1 second. Right there. Right there. And let's see. AMBR. Yes. Called it earlier this morning at 6:18 a.m. Called it earlier this morning. Right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, all right. AMBR called. Let me take a look at actually let me get it right here. AMBR again needs to break that little descending wedge right there. What had a nice little move upward, but now kind of has to break a descending wedge. Called it at 6:18 a.m. on the private Discord. Ran up 63%. All right, go and get the little image here. Let me get that right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So we got that going on. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, as of now, we got that stonk right there. AMBR looks like it's trying to curl above the descending wedge just a little bit. It's trying to. Can it curl? Can it actually do it? We'll see. We'll see. Needs to stay above that VWAP, though. Needs to stay above the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. So, we'll see what happens with this stonk. We shall see what happens with AMBR. Right now, it is still a bit overbought in the RSI. It does have a conference call still in progress, but the Q3 earnings were released today before the market opened. So, that's what we got going on right there, folks. That is what we got going on. All right. All right, all right, all right. 1 second. 1 second right there. 1 second. Okay. Ish. All right. All right, all right, all right. There we go. And there we go. AMBR ran up as high as, I believe, 63%. 63%. Yes, indeed. All right. Shot up to 63%. Now forming a bit of a descending wedge, trying to curl its way on up. Yeah, so we need that, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we need right there. Tomato. Uh, Al Hayari asks for INHD. All right, INHD. Let's take a look at INHD. Let's take a look. All right, INHD currently, as of now, below the VWAP. Below the VWAP, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently below the VWAP right now. Has a bit of a downtrend going on right over here, but right now looks like it's trying to curl its way on up because it fell down all the way over here, curled its way on up with this green candle, and is now trying to slowly but surely make its way towards breaking the downtrend. Can it break the downtrend? We'll have to see. Let's take a look at its volume. The volume for the stock is 34 million. Float is 12 million. So it does have the volume. It does have volume. So it's got that going on, but it needs more volume to basically break above the VWAP over here, and also needs to break this downtrend over here as of now. But it does have a couple of indecisive wicks, so it's gonna need some volume to really break through those. So as of now, INHD needs volume to break above the downtrend and the VWAP right over here for it to be somewhat schmexy to mia. That's what we got right there. All right, that is what we got going on. So that's how it be. It be like that. INHD currently up 20%, has Q4 earnings that are unconfirmed for in 12 days from now on to December 8th before market opens. So it has to get those Q4 earnings out before December 8th. Otherwise, But right now, not looking too schmexy to me. Needs to break this downtrend over here and then needs to break above this VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. It is leaning a bit towards the oversold area on the RSI, but right now it is still relatively indifferent. So we'll see what happens with it. We shall see what happens with it. It has to break above this downtrend, has to break above this VWAP. That's what we got going on right here, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. There we go. All right. Actually, you know what? I'll try. Let me make some support and resistance lines for it right over here. Give me 1 second. 1 second. There we go. All right. Let's get this support right here. Resistance right here. All right. So currently it has support at 32 cents, has to break through 33 cents, then 35, and then 37. Otherwise, it's going to be not schmexy to meow. You know what I mean? So we got that going on right there. INHD. Let's take a look at AMBR, because AMBR looks like it's trying to curl a little bit. Looks like it's trying to curl. Has a bit of a descending wedge. Can it break above it? We'll see. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 200. Let's get to 200, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 200 right here. Yeah, let's get to 200. So right now, AMBR looks like it's trying to curl off the descending wedge right there. Al Hayari says, thank you. Yeah, no problem, man. Of course. All right, our pleasure. Our pleasure. All right, AMBR trying to curl. AMBR trying to curl off the descending wedge. We'll see what happens there with AMBR. We're going to let it cook a little longer. Let it cook. CJET.
AMZE moving.
AMZE. Let's take a look at AMZE. Oh my. AMZE currently on a bit of an uptrend over here. Had a bit of consolidation early in the day along the VWAP. Fell below the VWAP for a little bit, but then curled its way on up nicely. So let's take a look over here. Got ourselves all the way over here. Bop right there. Bop right here. Boom. All right. Has a bit of a pennant that formed right over here. Curled its way on up. Bop right over here. So we got that going on right there. Currently above the VWAP and has a healthy little uptrend over here. Let me see how much float it's got. Float is 5 million. Volume is 11 million. So it's a little more than 2 times.
Strong news.
Ooh.
Insider CEO buys 335,000 shares.
All right. So apparently, let me take a look over here. AMZE has some news, according to the Coachmeister General. For those of you who didn't hear, AMZE has news that Amaze CEO Aaron Day bought 335,440 shares of company stock, boosting the stake to 575,000 plus. All right. They also disclosed that significant insider share purchase. And yeah, their CEO currently bought some shares in the stock right there, up 33% as of now, but it is curling its way on up nicely. Only thing I'm a little bit concerned about is the RSI, a little bit overbought on the RSI, but can it curl? Can it continue to curl its way on up? Curl. Can it do it, ladies and gentlemen? We shall see. We shall see. All right. But right now, AMZE is curling off that pennant right now on the uptrend, up 35%. AMZE on the uptrend, up 35%. There we go. There we go. So AMZE currently doing that right there. Volume just increased to 13 million. Float is still 5 million. Can it become 3 times that of the float? We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, the float is reasonable. The volume's looking good. We'll see what happens with this stock. Currently, it's still climbing its way on up slowly but surely. Let's get some support and resistance lines on it. Let's get some support and resistance lines. Bop right here and bop right there. All right, so has support at the 46-cent mark. Resistance at 50 cents right over here. Climbing its way on up, forming a and it's got a little bit of a red candle going on over here. I think that's to kind of compensate for the fact that it's a bit overbought on the RSI, a little bit overbought, but we'll see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see. We shall see. But right now, can it continue to curl? We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Up 36% now, 14 million float, 14 million volume. Float is 5 million, 14 million volume. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Let me get some water real quick. There we go. Ooh, that's the good stuff right there. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, currently has a bit of a double top forming right over here. Yeesh. So, we got that going on right there. That's what we got going on. We got a little bit of a double top right over Mia. All right. So that's what we got going on right there, folks. That is what we got going on. So yeah, just taking a look at it right now, has to break above this little area at 48 cents, has to then break through 50 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to meh. Otherwise, meh, eh. So we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Has to remain friends with the trend. AMZE needs to remain friends with the trend. AMZE, and let's get a share party going. Let's get to 300. AMZE needs to remain friends with the trend. There we go. Boom, right there. All right. Next up, let's take a look at AMBR again. AMBR trying to curl off that descending wedge still. Needs some more time to cook, but it is trying to curl a little bit. AMBR trying to curl. There we go. That's really what it's trying to do right now. Still has the conference call in progress, but the Q3 earnings were released today before the market opened. Let's take a look at PW. PW. All right. PW over here. Bop right there. Let's get this graffiti pencil activated over here. Boom. A to B, B to C. All right. And then C to D all the way up here. All right. And then kind of had a little bit of a pennant form right over yeah. So has to break above this pennant and above the VWAP for PW. Has to break above those two things for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Float is 3 million. Volume is 23 million. So we got that going on right there. PW. Let's see what we got going on here. PW needs to break the pennant and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to meh. Otherwise, it's just going to be meh. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. Has to break above this VWAP, though. Not overbought or oversold in the RSI. Let's see if it has news, though. Let's see if it has some news. Does it have any news? Oh, they filed a Form 10 yesterday. It was a quarterly report, so they filed that yesterday. But that's about all the news they really got. That's kind of sort of fresh. So right now, it needs some volume to really break above that VWAP and break above that pennant. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. Let's take a look. Somebody requested. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Somebody requested AEHL. AEHL. Okay. AEHL currently, as of now, has its little bit of movement up over here. Right over here, and then kind of just formed a bit of a pennant after falling below the VWAP right over here. So AEHL has unconfirmed H1 earnings for, due in 13 days. So that would be on December the 9th before the market open. All right. So that's what you got going on. AMZE, breaking out. Okay, let's see what goes on there. All right. Let's take a look over here. Yeah. So AEHL right now. Hold on, let me just put over this. It's trying to be a contender. All right. AEHL needs to break the VWAPA and the pennant. Same as the other one right there. All right. There we go. Okay. There we go. All right. So AEHL currently got its thing going on right there. Let's take a look at AMZE. Let's take a look at AMZE. All right. So AMZE currently on the uptrend over here. Currently on the uptrend, broke through that double top at 48 cents and is now curling its way on up higher than before at 51 cents, breaking through once again. It's up 42%. AMZE climbing its way on up. Over here. AMZE climbing up. All right. There we go. So AMZE, yes, 52 cents, currently up 44%. AMZE climbing up 44% right there. All right. Up 44%. There we go. All right. So there we are. Yes. There we go. Right over there. All right. So up 53 cents right now. Climbing its way on up. 49% right now, currently up 49%, still climbing, has a new resistance point at 54 cents right over there, needs to break through that right there. So we got that going on, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. All right, AMZE up 47% right now. AMZE did have a nice little high, up 49%. AMZE up 49%, breaking through the high of day. All right, it's just breaking through that high of day right now. Has resistance at the 54-cent mark, 54 cents. So we'll see what happens right there, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens there. All right. So that's what we got going on there. That is what we got going on. All right. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, currently AMZE needs to continue to climb its way on up, needs to remain friends with the trend and climb up and break that 54-cent mark for it to continue to be schmexy to mya. That's what we got going on. We're going to let it cook a little bit. We are going to let it cook. Let's take a look at SPRC. SPRC, let's see how SPRC is doing. SPRC had a movement upward above the VWAP, but then kind of fell below the VWAP a little bit, so we got that going on right there. SPRC, boom, boom, and boom right there. So, again, has a pennant, needs to break the VWAP. That's really what we got going on with this stock. That's what we got going on so far. So, SPRC also needs to break this pennant. A lot of consolidation going on, so that's why a lot of pennants are being made here. So SPRC needs to break the pennant and the VWAP. All right, needs to break through that consolidation right there a little bit. All right, so that's what we got going on there. That is what we got going on there. All right, INHD, let's see how that's doing. INHD still hasn't broken above that downtrend over there. Still needs volume to break that downtrend. INHD still needs volume to break the downtrend right there. So that's what we got going on. Boom, right there. All right. Let's take a look at some other stocks. Let's see what else we got going on. There we go. So, somebody requested ATCH. Let's take a look at ATCH. All right, ATCH. Not a lot of volume. Not looking too schmexy over here. Very, very, very low volume. Fell below the VWAP. Has been kind of not really barcoding per se, but it's gotten a lot of indecisive wicks, which indicates a lot of very low volume. So not looking too schmexy, really. Not looking too schmexy. Very low volume on this stock right here. So it has to break through this pennant right here and break above this VWAP. But right here, this is the kind of stock that it doesn't have any volume really. So I don't really have too many high hopes for it. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 500. Let's get to 500, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Let's break through that 500 mark right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. ATCH. ATCH. Not a lot of volume. Very low volume at this point. ATCH. Very low on volume. Lots of indecisive wicks. Needs volume to break the VWAP and the pennant. Very consolidated as of now. All right, very consolidated as of now. That's really all I got to say about it. Let's take a look at KALA. Kala. Let's see how Kala is doing. All right, 6 million float. Volume is 12 million. Fell below the VWAP. Not looking too schmexy as of now. Needs to break the downtrend right over MYA for it to be somewhat schmexy to MYA. Let's see what we got going on there, though, with Kala. Kala currently has the volume. It has 2 times that of the float. The volume is 2 times that of the float. So, I mean, that's good. That's good. It just needs to break above the VWAP. It needs to break above the VWAP, and it also needs to break that downtrend because it's not looking too schmexy right now. Not looking too schmexy. 9 EMA is below the VWAP. It is leaning towards being oversold on the RSI, so not looking too schmexy right there. KALA needs to break the downtrend and the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Otherwise, it's just meh. You know how it goes, ladies and gentlemen. You know how it goes. Let's take a look at AMBR. See how AMBR is holding up. AMBR. There we go. Looks like it's curling off the descending wedge a little bit. Looks like it's curling off the descending wedge, but it did come out with some news just now. A little bit of news. Hold on. We will get to that immediately. AMBR curling up off the descending wedge. Amber International. I can't speak English right now, ladies and gentlemen. I can't English good right now. There we go. I'm kidding. All right. So, Amber International Holdings shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q3 sales results with, a $50 million buyback. So, they got that going on right there. Currently, AMBR is curling off the descending wedge right now, up 63%. 63%. AMBR curling off the descending wedge. All right, did have some good Q3 earnings there. Climb, baby, climb. Yeah, need to climb, baby, climb. Let's get it. All right, so let's get some support and resistance lines here for AMBR Amber. There we go. Boom and boom. So right now, currently has support at $2 for. Actually, hold on. Let me move this down just a little bit. There we go. All right. So has support at $2.41 and has to break through $2.68, which is the high a day, for it to really be so much maxi to me. Currently, AMBR is testing the high a day. Testing the high a day. AMBR testing the high of day, up 67%. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. AMBR, can it continue to curl, ladies and gentlemen? Can it continue to curl, baby, curl? Let's see what happens, ladies and gents. Let's see what happens. All right. SPRC needs to still break this pennant, still needs to break the VWAP, but thank you. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Bless me. SPRC, SPRC shares are trading higher after the company had signed a binding term sheet to acquire patents and IP for endoscopic systems and medical cameras. So it just came out with this news, up 27%. SPRC needs to break that pennant, needs to break that VWAP still. So SPRC needs to break through the VWAP and pennant for it to be so much maxi to mya. There we go. All right, so that's what we got going on there for SPRC, but it did come out with some pretty good news. So we'll see what goes on there. All right, let's see what else we got. What else we got over here? All right. Let's see about BSLK. Somebody requested BSLK. Very low volume, not looking schmexy. Not looking schmexy at all. Needs to break above the VWAP for it to be schmexy. Not looking schmexy at all. BSLK, very low volume. Not looking schmexy at all, ladies and gentlemen. BSLK needs more volume for it to be so much schmexy to mya. There we go. BSLK. There we go. Needs more volume. Not schmexy. All right, AMBR. Let's see how AMBR is doing. AMBR broke through the high. Broke the high a day right there. Hit 70%. Hit 70% before going back down a little bit. Broke through the high a day right there. AMBR broke the high of day, up 70%. Hit that high of 70%. All right. AMBR has a bit of a top tail. We don't like the top tails. We like the bottom tails. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on so far for AMBR. AMBR. Let's see what other stonks we got going on here. What other stonks we got? What other stonks we got? All right. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. What other stonks do we have today? All right, we got BBAI. Someone requested BBAI. All right, BBAI, Big Bear AI Inc. All right. It's all right, but I mean not really. It's got a lot of indecisive wicks. It's not looking good. It looks like it's kind of sort of starting to barcode a little bit, truthfully. It's like just above the VWAP, which is good, but I mean it's up 0.81%. Not a lot of volume. Doesn't look too schmexy. BBAI. Lots of consolidation and barcoding. Needs volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. That's what BBAI needs. That's what it needs right there. All right, MNDR. Let's see how MNDR is doing. Nope, still on a bit of a downtrend there. All right, let's get rid of this. It is on a straight up downtrend. So there we go. Boom. MNDR. All right, MNDR. MNDR needs to break the downtrend right here for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. MNDR. There we go. All right, let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 800. Let's get to 800, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Let's get to 800. 800. Come on now. All right, so let's see what other stonks we got. Let's take a look at the crowd favorite ASST. ASST barcoded but is climbing. I will give it credit. It is climbing, but again, barcoded low volume. All right. ASST barcoded with low volume. Needs but on an uptrend. I will give it credit. It's on an uptrend, but it is barcoded with low volume. So I'll give it that, though. All right. But it's still barcoded. So one of those things. All right. BYND barcoded with low volume needs to break the VWAP. That's pretty much what BYND needs. BYND, low volume, needs to break the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. Open. Let's take a look at open, ladies and gentlemen. OPEN. All right. This one is above the VWAP. Looks like it's trying to curl a little bit, but it's still very, very choppy. Very, very choppy as of now. Open. A little bit choppy. Open. Choppy. And needs volume. And to hold above the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to meow. That's what we need to do with open. Let's see what we got over here. What are the stonks we got over here? All right. Somebody requested KZIA. Let's take a look at KZIA. All right. Let me get this a little bit refreshed over here. Come on, baby. There we go. All right. So, KZIA, Kasia Therapeutics Limited, currently down 3%. Had fiscal year earnings, unconfirmed fiscal year earnings, due in 13 days, which would be the December the 9th. So we got that going on right there. A lot of indecisive wicks over here. KZIA, very low volume. Lots of indecisive wicks, not looking schmexy, consolidated along the VWAPA. KZIA, very low volume, consolidated along the VWAPA. Not schmexy, ladies and gentlemen, not schmexy over here. All right, so with that being said over here, all right, let's see what other stonks we got going on here. What are the stonks we got going on? Okay. There we go. There we go. All right, all right, all right. Let's take a look over here. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at BURU. Let's take a look at BURU. That was also requested of me to check out. Buru had a bit of a history with this stonk a long time ago, but right now, very barcoded, not looking schmexy right now. BURU, not looking schmexy. BURU, barcoded below the VWAPA, needs volume for it to be somewhat schmexy. To mia, not looking schmexy, not looking schmexy. Let's take a look at IWM. Let's see. IWM, also below the VWAP, very low volume, very low float, very expensive. Somebody requested this stock, very expensive and extremely low volume. So IWM, very expensive and low volume. It's basically like asking to lose your money with that one. Might as well just like flush your money down the toilet. Oh yeah, that one right there. So let's see about ONDS. Let's see how ONDS is doing. ONDS. I mean, it curled up a little bit, but again, very choppy. ONDS, very choppy. ONDS, choppy, with low volume, needs to stay above the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Otherwise, just Let's take a look back at AMBR. AMBR, it's a stock that's actually making money that we called earlier in the morning. All right. Let's see what we got over here. AMBR currently needs to remain friends with the trend right now, kind of pulling back again because it was a little bit overbought in the RSI, but it needs to remain friends with the trend right there. AMBR needs to remain friends with the trend. Yes. Good. All right. Needs to remain friends with that trend. Looks like it's not really doing that. Looks like it's pulling back a little bit because it is a bit overbought in the RSI. So we'll see what happens there. Again, AMBR has news that Amber International Holdings are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q3 sales results and a $50 million buyback. The conference call has concluded, and the Q3 earnings were released today before the market opened. So we got that going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's take a look back at AMZE. AMZE was a bit overbought in the RSI. Went back down just a little bit, fell below the VWAP, and looks like it's trying to test that VWAP and curl above it again. So let's get the graffiti pencil activated over here. Let's get the graffiti pencil activated. All right. Oh, excuse me. Right there. Boom. Okay. A little bit of a descending wedge right over here. Looks like it's trying to curl its way on up right now. Bop right there. Can it break above the VWAPA? Can it stay there? Can it remain friends with the trend? We'll see what happens. AMZE curling off the descending wedge right there. AMZE trying to curl off the descending wedge right there. There we go. All right, it's trying to curl above it. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1,200. 1,200. Come on now. Let's get to 1200, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. INHD, INHD. Let's see how INHD is doing. INHD curling off the downtrend a little bit. It's curling off the downtrend just a bit right now. Needs to remain friends with the trend, but it is curling off the downtrend right now. So INHD, INHD, curling off the downtrend. Can it test the VWAPA and remain friends with the trend? All right. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. There we go. Let's take a look over here. All right. Let's see. Let's see. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at another stonk over here. Let's take a look at another stonk. All right. Let's see here. All right. We got over here. Somebody requested AVGO. AVGO. Ooh, fell like a Dickens. Just dropped like a rock. Ooh, not looking schmexy at all. AVGO dropped like a rock, down 1%. AVGO dropped like a rock. Needs volume to break the VWAP. Otherwise, not looking schmexy to me. AMBR. Currently trying to curl its way off the support line at $2.46. Trying to curl its way off that support line. Yes. All right. AMBR curling off the support line. Can it break the high of day once again? We shall see. We shall see. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1300. Let's take a look. Somebody asked for NUAI. NUAI. Let's see how NUAI is doing. Actually, wait. Let me go back to AVGO because I think there was news there for AVGO. Nope. It's still trash. NUAI. All right. Choppiness, not schmexy, very low volume. Not looking too good, ladies and gentlemen. Not looking too good. NUAI looks like trash. All right. NUAI, very choppy with low volume and gaps. Needs volume. All right, needs volume. That's what we need. That is what it needs, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 1300. Come on now. 1300. The RSI is not overbought or oversold, really. The 90 MA is diverging away from the VWAP, too. A lot of indecisive wicks. This thing's forming a doji candle. Looks like the Holy Cross instead of an actual candle. So, got that going on right there. So, there we go. Let's take a look at Open. Let's go back to Open, ladies and gentlemen. I think it still needs some volume. Me personally, I think it still needs some volume. Open, still very choppy right now. Still very choppy. Crowd favorite. Open, still choppy. And needs volume. Still choppy and needs volume. That's really what you got with Open. Somebody requested Bull, B-U-L-L. Let's take a look at B-U-L-L, Bull. All right. And BULL currently Actually had a bit of an A, B, C, D, a little bit of one over here. All right, a little bit of an A to B, B to C, C to D over here, and then kind of formed a bit of a pennant right over here. So right now needs to kind of break that pennant. All right, had a bit of a loop-de-loop over here, but had a bit of an A, B, C, D. All right, and then kind of just needs to hold above this VWAP and needs to break the pennant for it to really be so much maxi to me. Bull, B-U-L-L, needs to hold above the VWAP and break the pennant for it to be so much maxi to me. All right, that's what it really needs to do. B-U-L-L needs to break through that pennant right there. All right, let's see what else we got. What else we got? Let me add them. All right. AMBR. Let's see. Let's take a look over here with AMBR. Ooh, it looks like AMBR broke upward, actually. AMBR did hit a new high. New high, up 74%, broke above the high of day once again. AMBR, up 74% now. All right, looks like it hit 76. Oh, there we go, 79. There we go. There we go, AMBR. There we go. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about right there. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that right there. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right. There we are, ladies and gents. There we are. Woo! All right. AMBR curling up nicely. 79%. There we go. Testing the, once again, broke the high of day. AMBR once again broke the high of day, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. AMBR once again broke the high of day. Up 81% right now. Broke through the high of day just now as well. Broke through that high of day. Oh my. Okay. There we go. 82%. There we go. It's climbing its way on up slowly but surely, but it's climbing its way on up right now. Climbing its way on up. Needs to break past the $2.90 mark over here. Can it break through? Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1,500. 1,500, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Let's get to 1,500. 1,500, 1,500, 1,500. All right. AMBR now up 82%. Broke the high of day once again. AMBR broke the high of day yet again. Up 82% right now. So, got that going on right there. That's what we got going on. All right. Again, AMBR has news that their shares are trading higher after the company reported a better than expected Q3 sales result and a $50 million buyback. So, as of now, AMBR just doing its thing right now, chilling like a villain. There we go. Just chilling. All right. All right. There we go. Ooh. Just got to get that stretch in, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. All right. So, AMBR currently doing its thing right now. There we go. All right. So, AMBR currently up, moving up right now. Looks like it had a bit of a red candle because it was a bit overbought in the RSI. So it had to kind of go back down and compensate for that. But it looks like it's trying to curl its way back up again. Can it remain friends with the trend? Let's see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens. Bless you, coach. Yeesh. All right. So, AMBR, bless you. All right. There we go. So, yeesh. There we go. AMBR currently doing its thing. Yeah, it's allergy season, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been sneezing all over the place. But AMBR currently doing its thing right now. It's chilling right now. Chilling like a villain. All right. Somebody once again requested AEHL. Let's take a look at AEHL. AEHL. All right. AEHL currently still below the VWAP. Still consolidated below the VWAP right now. Really needs to break through that pennant right there. AEHL. Again, not looking too schmexy because it is still consolidated. Still consolidated below the VWAP. Needs to break the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. Oh, that's a good stretch right there, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh. Sorry about that. Got a lot of stretching here. All right. So, currently, that's what we got going on for AEHL. Somebody requested DELL. Dell? Okay. All right. Bet. Let's take a look. DELL. All right. DELL. Very expensive. Up $133 over here. Up 7%. Very expensive stock. 9 EMA is diverging away from the VWAPA. And to top it off, not looking schmexy. Ooh, AMBR moving. All right. You heard the man. All right. Let me just say this. Dell, expensive. And low volume. Not schmexy. All right. So, let's take a look at AMBR. AMBR looks like it's curling. Once again, trying to test that high a day. AMBR, once again, looks like it's trying to test that high a day right now. Come on. Can it break it? Can it break it, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see if it can.
Break it to make it. Resistance $2.83.
Ooh, $2.83 right there. Curling its
Oh,
way on
now
up.
push it, baby.
Come on.
Push the gasoline.
The gasolina.
Let's go, baby.
All right. AMBR.
Let's go, baby.
AMBR trying to test that high a day once again. AMBR. All right. Trying to test the high of day once again. All right. Trying to test that high of day. Let's see about it. We'll take a look at it here. LAES, very choppy. Low volume, very choppy. Consolidated above the view. Consolidated just above the VWAP a little bit. So, all right. LAES, consolidated and choppy. Low volume. Not schmexy. Not schmexy to mya. All right. Yeah. A lot of consolidation. A lot of low volume. Not looking schmexy. Meh. You know what I mean? Meh. All right. So, that's what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. Somebody requested MNDR. Let's take a look at ATON firstly. ATON price spike over here on low volume. ATON has a price spike on low volume going on. Has a bit of a top tail, though. Don't like the top tails. We like the bottom tails, ladies and gentlemen. ATON price spike on low volume. Not looking schmexy right now, but it did have a price spike on low volume. So I'm going to keep an eye on it there. It's a little bit overbought on the RSI. Has unconfirmed Q1 earnings due in 13 days on the 9th of December. So we'll see what happens there. ATON needs to...
$82.5 million strategic GPU infrastructure investment.
Oh, okay, yeah. News just came out for it, though, that Alpha Ton, which is the name of this company, Capital, announces an $82.5 million strategic GPU infrastructure investment to power privacy-first decentralized AI after successful pilot launch of Telegram's Cocoon AI. And it just came up with a new, just now, literally just now, came out with news that Alpha Ton Capital agrees to acquire and deploy 1,000 plus NVIDIA B200 GPU high-performance compute clusters valued at $68 million, ladies and gentlemen. NVIDIA. Yes. We'll see. We'll see if it makes it move. I'll look at it later. All right. So, somebody requested DFLI. DFLI, let's take a look at DFLI. DFLI, currently right now, very choppy, low volume. A lot of low volume, a lot of indecisive wicks right here. So, it is just above the VWAP right now, but the 90MA is diverging from the VWAP. Is on an uptrend, but again, an uptrend with very, very low volume, very, very choppy, a lot of indecisive wicks. Not really a good sign for this. Up 4%, but it does have a lot of indecisive wicks here, so I'm going to say it's moving up, but has low volume. That's what I'm going to say. DFLI. Oh, yes, DFLI moving up with very low volume. ATON is moving. Let's take a look at ATON. ATON, let's see how it's doing. ATON, how you doing there, ATON? Are we going to have a ton of fun or not? Ha 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 ha. Get it? Aha. That was a good one. Come on, that was good. Dad jokes. Perhaps. Perhaps. All right. ATON climbing its way on up right now. Climbing, baby, climb.
Come on, fella.
The volume is starting to catch up a little bit with the float. I'll give it credit there. All right. There we go. Ooh. All right. Climbing its way on up slowly but surely. ATON pushing its way on up right now. Pushing its way on up. ATON pushing on up. All right. ATON pushing on upwards. All right. Let's see what goes on with ATON, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what goes on with it. All right. So we'll see what happens there, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Justin asks for RSLV. Let's take a look at RSLV. RSLV. Let's take a look over here. That's RSLVS. Now, RSLV. Nope. Nope. There's only RSLVS. Not showing anything, really. Not showing anything for this. OSRH, on the other hand, we did hear about. Yesterday, we did hear about it quite a bit. But, as of now, very choppy. OSRH, very choppy. Not looking too schmexy right now. Was a bit below the VWAP. Was a bit below the VWAP right now. Very, very low volume. Lots of choppiness. Not showing too much in terms of the volume department, but we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens with the stunk. It is above the VWAP. I'll give it credit where credit's due. It is above the VWAP. But, again, OSRH needs volume. Needs a lot of volume. Broke through the VWAP, but needs a lot of volume. OSRH broke the VWAP, but needs a lot of volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what we got going on here. What else we got? What else we got? Let me at him. Let me at him. Let's take a look over here. Let's take a look over here. All right. Somebody requested MNDR. MNDR. How's MNDR doing now? MNDR broke above the downtrend just a little bit, but still consolidated below the VWAP. All right. So, MNDR broke the downtrend, consolidated below the VWAP. Needs to break that VWAP for it to be so much maxi to mya. Justin asks for KALA. Let's take a look at KALA. Let's take a look back at it. All right, KALA did break above the downtrend just a little bit, but is still in need of some volume because it did have a red candle right here directly afterwards. All right, so KALA broke the downtrend, but still below the VWAP. Needs volume, some vitamin V, for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. You know what I mean? So, right now has a bit of a bottom tail, but it's a bottom tail red. You know what I mean? We'll have to see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens right there with KALA. All right. Let's see what we got going on here with KALA. Oh, wait. Looks like it's trying to curl its way on up a little bit. There we go. Come on. Come on, KALA. There we go. A little bit. I'm rooting for you. I am. All right. Oh. All right. So still very choppy with the volume. Still very choppy with the volume, but it did have a move upward. Oh, there it goes again. There it goes again. All right. That's what we need, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we need. Right there. There we go. There we go. There we go. Right there. So, right now, KALA is currently still below the VWAP. Needs some time to really cook and break above that VWAP, though. VWAP is at 81 cents. This stock right here is at 78. Can it break that resistance? We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen, because the VWAP right now is acting more like a resistance than a support. So, we'll have to see what goes on there, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what goes on. All right. Let's see what other stocks we got over here. Oh, also, KALA is 12 million float, or excuse me, 12 million volume, 6 million float. So the volume is twice as much as the float, which is a good sign, but needs to continue to go up, needs more volume. It needs more power, Captain. Needs more power. Yes. Call me Scotty from Star Trek, because that thing needs more power. All right.
2 minutes to the bell.
2 minutes to the bell. The bell. The bell. It deafens me. All right, so 2 minutes to the bell, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we got going on here. All right, we got 2 minutes to the bell. Let me get some water in me real quick. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 2,200. 2,200. Ooh, all right. Okay. So, as of now, KALA trying to curl its way on up. Let's see how AMBR is doing. AMBR, Amber. All right. AMBR curling slightly right now. Trying to curl at least. Right now, had a bit of a consolidation. Kind of had a bit of consolidation as it fell below the overbought part of the RSI. But right now, trying to curl its way on up, trying to curl AMBR. There we go. AMBR. Come on now. AMBR. There we go. AMBR needs to break the high of day once again. Come on now. Can it do it? We shall see. We shall see. All right. Somebody requested Ruby. Let's get a Ruby. RUBI. All right. RUBI fell below the VWAP, but is now testing the VWAP. So we'll see what happens. RUBI curling and testing that VWAP right now. So we'll see what happens. Ruby did run up quite a bit yesterday, but let's see what goes on with it. RUBI fell below the VWAP. RUBI testing the VWAP right now. There we go. All right. There we are. There we are. All right.
The bell.
Yeesh. The bell. The bell. Yeesh. All right. All right. All right. There we go. All right. There we are. There we are. Woo. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, right now, we're just chilling right here. Just chilling. Woo! All right. So, yeesh. Let's take a look over here. Right now, RUBI is testing that VWAP. It's testing the heck out of it. The bell just hit. The bell just started. Let's get ourselves all set up over here. Let's get everything ready. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. All right. All right. So, right now, Ruby is currently moving its way on up. It's trying to, at least. It's trying to smack the bottom of that VWAP. Needs to break above it though. Needs to break above that 21-cent line, but it is still down 10%. So we'll see what happens with it. But right now, Ruby needs to make its way on up. Needs to make its way on up, ladies and gentlemen. For it to be so much Maxi to me, needs to prove its love to me. Needs to prove its love to me, because what have you done for me lately? You know what I mean? What have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately, ladies and gentlemen? Let's see. Let's see how MNDR is doing. MNDR. All right. MNDR is trying to curl. Trying, but it has a big old top tail. We don't like the top tails. We like the bottom tails, ladies and gentlemen. We like them bottom tails. All right. What's going on over there with DHAI or CETY? What's going on with those? I don't. Oh, let me check. I mean, I'll check it out. DHAI. What's going on with the... Nope, choppy. Nope. Choppy with low volume. DHAI. Low volume. Not good. Not good. Low volume. All right. CETY. How's CETY doing? CETY broke above the VWAP. Broke above that VWAP right there. Let's take a look. CETY broke above the VWAP. Yeesh. All right. All right. Let's take a look over here, though. CETY also broke the VWAP. Broke the VWAP. Can it keep climbing on a potential ABCD pattern, right? Over Mia, let's take a look over here. Has an ABCD pattern. A to B, B to C, C to D. So, potential ABCD pattern. We'll see what goes on there. What was it again? AMZE that broke up there? AMZE broke the VWAP once again. Yes, sir. So, AMZE broke the VWAP. AMZE broke VWAP. Let's see what we got over here. Boom. AMZE broke the VWAP. Curling off the pennant right here. There we go. All right. Testing resistance as well. Testing resistance right there. Testing the resistance. There we go. All right. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 2,400. Come on now. 2,400. Let's take a look at QNTM. But before we do that, just going to say Amaze Holdings shares are trading higher after the company announced its CEO, Aaron Day, bought 335,440 shares. That was the thing. I think they made a typo in the little thingy over here. But 335,440 shares. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. QNTM. Let's see what we got going on there. Curling its way on up above that VWAP. Random price spike on low volume right now. QNTM, random price spike on low volume. So we'll just call what it is there. QNTM, price spike on low volume. Needs volume for it to continue to be so much maxi to mya, because right now it's Right, needs to also break above this little double top right over mya. Yes, sir. All right. There we go. All right. Let me just stretch a little bit. Ooh. Yeesh. Little bit of, just got to stretch there. Ooh, there we go. That was the crick right there. Ooh. Crick. Yeesh. It's doing its thing right there. AMBR. Is it curling? AMBR. It's still doing its thing right there. You know what I mean? It's still doing its thing. AMBR. Alex Martinez says, can we get a look at SPRC? Sure we can, Alex. Let's do it. SPRC. SPRC, look at that baby right there. It was a bit consolidated below the VWAP. Looks like it's trying to test that VWAP though right now and curl off that pennant just a little bit. We'll see what happens over here, but right now it looks like it's trying to curl off the pennant a little bit. So we'll see what goes on. SPRC, SPRC, testing and peaking above the VWAP, curled off the pennant. All right. There we go. All right. Pennant right there. So, I mean, it's trying to. It was trying to test that VWAP. Right now, it's kind of falling below it, but it's trying to test it some more. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. SPY-SPRC Limited shares are trading higher after the company signed a binding term sheet to acquire patents and IP for endoscopic systems and medical cameras. So we got that going on right there. So can it continue to curl right now? Can it continue to curl? Let's take a look at YXT. Let's take a look at YXT. That one just popped in. YXT uptrend on low volume right now. YXT uptrend on low volume. YXT uptrend on low volume right there. There we go. Let's take a look at BQ. BQ, probably the same deal, truthfully. BQ, 305K volume. Float is unknown, but BQ has an uptrend. Big old price spike on low volume right there. So BQ, price spike on low volume for the stunk right here. Let's see. Let's see what we got over here. Yes, sir. All right. So, currently, BQ on its way up right now. There we go. Shot up like a rocket just now. We shall see what goes down with this stock right here. We shall see. But right now, it's currently got that big old green candle going on over there. We'll see what happens. But right now, I'm rooting for it. But right now, low volume. So got to keep an eye on it. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. There you go. So that's. I mean, you know what means. All right, let's get it. Let's see. Oh, somebody requested a stock CETY. CETY. Let's see how CETY is doing. CETY. All right. CETY. Looked like it was going to have a bit of an ABCD originally, but then kind of didn't have one, and it just dropped like a rock. So right now, CETY just dropped like a Dickens. All right. Fell down. Not looking schmexy. Fell below the VWAP. CETY. CETY fell below the VWAP. Needs volume. Needs volume for it to remain somewhat schmexy to meow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. So, as of now, CETY currently doing its thing right now. Needs to break through that VWAP right now for it to be so much schmexy to meow. Otherwise, it's just not looking schmexy. Not even bothering to look good. Somebody requested CLSK. CLSK on a slight uptrend right now. So it's got that going on right there. CLSK climbing its way on up just a little bit. Moving on up just a little bit right now. We'll see, though. We shall see. All right, CLSK. CLSK needs to break. CLSK climbing right now. Climbing slowly but surely. Climbing. There we go. So, that's what we got going on currently. Let's take a look over there. CLSK climbing right now. We'll see what goes on there. We shall see what goes on. Let's take a look at another stock over there. GNS. Somebody requested GNS. GNS. Let's see how GNS is doing. GNS choppy. Choppy as can be. Not looking schmexy at all. GNS very choppy, low volume. GNS very choppy and low volume for it to be so much schmexy to me. Looks bearish. All right, so yeesh. All right, so as of now, this stock needs some volume for it to be so much schmexy to me. Otherwise, just But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for me, ladies and gentlemen. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, folks. Sharing is caring. And, of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on right there. Be sure to check us out on our YouTube at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of live streams, videos, stock reviews, and even shorts, as well as motivational shorts. We do all that wonderful stuff on YouTube at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. You can find us on x.com, aka Twitter, at Coaching Money. We do lots of live streaming there as well, and lots of stock reviews and analysis. Justin wants us to take a look at OSCR before we leave. Sure. I'll take a look at OSCR. OSCR climbing its way on up just above the VWAP right now on a slight uptrend. A little bit choppy with that red candle right there, but on a slight uptrend. So a OSCR on a slight uptrend, but need to keep an eye on it. OSCR on a slightly choppy uptrend. There we go. So, that's what we got going on there, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on there. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check us out on our Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. You can find us on our you can find our Discord. We'll get to that in a few seconds. You can find us on our TikTok, Tiki-Taki, a.k.a. the Tac. The Tac. You can find us there at DBL Nicks. At DBL NICKS. And the screen name is Coach Nick Money. All right. Also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners, which gives you access to our amazing charts, our amazing scanners that give access to all these stonks right here, as well as hyperlinks, ticker percentages, the time in which it was scanned, whether the stock is moving up or down, ticker, price, volume, float, etc. Click on the hyperlinks as well to get access to the chart, news, all sorts of other things, all sorts of expansive information, the expanded information on the stock. You get access to the newsroom, which has little synopses of what's going on the news, but also gives you a longer, more detailed article if you click the little hyperlink there, and also shows you the ticker that's affected by the article, by the contents of said article. So you got that going on, and you also get access to our amazing, wonderful community of indelible patrons, where basically they're basically awesome people. They help each other out and they help each other grow. It's an amazing supportive community. We love to be a part of it. We love that you guys have helped us get to that point. So, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check that out as well, man. We couldn't be any more grateful, man. We are blessed that you guys are giving us that amazing opportunity to create such a wonderful community. So, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check that out as well. All right. And yeah, because that's all part of the 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below. So be sure to check that out because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. And KTTA seems to be moving up quite a bit. So got that going on too. All right. But yeah, so that's what we got going on there. All right. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our show that'll be coming on at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Power Plays. Power Plays. All right. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Be sure to check out our show, Power Plays, ladies and gentlemen. That show will be coming out today at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be coming out at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Gonna have a good old time. It's hosted by the legend himself, the Coach Meister General, Coach Nick Money, in the house. And of course, I'll be right there as well. DBL Knicks, I'll be right there as well. And someone wants me to take a look at RUBI. Oh, you guys want me to stick around that much? Oh, that's sweet. All right, no, that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind. Let's go. Let's go. All right, RUBI currently curling off the VWAPA right now. Curling off that VWAP on a nice little uptrend right here. Can it continue? Can it continue where it left off? Still down 6%, but it is doing its thing right there. All right. Oh, okay. All right. We got something to look at. RUBI on the uptrend, curling above the VWAPA, broke the VWAPA right there. So can it continue where it left off? We'll see what happens with RUBI. What was the next one, Coach? AMBR attempting the higher day. Once again, it is attempting that higher day. It's testing the higher day once again. AMBR once again testing the higher day. AMBR once again testing the high of day. So, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, be sure to check out the wonderful show that'll be coming out today at 1:30, just before Power Hour. It's called Power Plays, ladies and gentlemen. And basically what it's about is you got the power part, which is where Coach looks at some stonks. It all takes place prior to Power Hour. So basically, Coach takes a look at some stonks. He gives his honest opinion about them. He takes a look at them, analyzes them a little bit, sees what he thinks, and if the stonk needs to simmer, it needs to simmer. If it doesn't, then it's good. That's awesome. He's going to take a look at it, and he's going to keep an eye on it. All right, but if the stonk needs some simmering or something like that, Coach gets on to the play portion of the show, which is called Fortnite. There we go. He's going to be playing some Fortnite, basically. He'll play some Fortnite while he waits for the stonks to simmer and get better and better than ever. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's basically been getting on that route there, and he's cracked at Fortnite. So, yeesh. So, be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be co-hosting that as well. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos uploaded. Remember to share. All right. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, to check out Power Plays, which will be coming out today at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. And yeah, you can find all that on our YouTube, X.com, and Twitch at Coach Nick Money. At Coach Nick Money. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Much love. I'll see you guys later in the day. If I don't see you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. But yeah, I'll see the rest of you at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Much love, everybody.